disrupted.
America to like fuck.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. And do we have an interesting story for you? Because something amazingly happened at a stockbroker get-together. Which I thought I'd never utter those words in the same sentence, but this is pretty interesting. So apparently, at a Berkshire Hathaway meeting, that's Warren Buffett's big giant company, annual meeting in Omaha, which I don't, kind of a weird place to have a shareholder get together, or but no offense to Midwest people, I'm not trying to discredit you. I don't want to piss off my viewers in there. I'm just saying Omaha. You think it'd be New York, but anyway, that's not the point of this. Peter Flaherty, chairman of the National League and Policy Center, the NLPC, had his microphone cut, was arrested, and forcibly removed from the arena for speaking some uncomfortable truths. And the funny thing is, because I always love showing these clips of outspoken people when, you know, like Jose Vega or Medea Benjamin or another activist interrupts a room full of, you know, establishment tropes and gulags of the war machine and so on and so forth. I always love showing those clips, but the interesting part about this is he was actually a speaker. He is actually a designated speaker at this event, and he's about to unleash some uncomfortable truths right in front of Warren Buffett's face. So take a listen to this.
Senators to present a proposal.
I am Peter Flaherty, chairman of the National Legal and Policy Center. If we had an independent chair, the company would be less identified with Mr. Buffett's political activities. He's donated tens of billions to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. As Bill Gates explained when the company was still together, although the company bears our names, basically half our resources have come from Warren Buffett. If woke culture is the disease, then philanthropy is the virus. The Gates Foundation bankrolls the teaching of critical race theory around the country, including that math is inherently racist. The Gates Foundation offers a gender identity toolbox, which asserts that gender is a result of socially and culturally constructed ideas. This is a lie. Gender is not a cultural construct. It is a genetic and biological fact. You're not going to censor what I say, ma'am. I'm very sorry. And I'll appeal to the chair that I be allowed to continue. Sir?
You may continue, but you're under a 3-minute limitation.
Of course.
So he said some fascinating things there, which of course that's when the people on the stage there, including Warren Buffett, had to jump in and be like, we're gonna have to cut you off because you're saying a little too much. You're saying a little too much about our business dealings and what we actually do behind closed doors. You're saying a little too much, so we're gonna cut you off. But that it's so interesting because you just heard, and it pretty much just reveals all the conversations about race and gender and all these culture war, the culture war fiascos that we hear constantly about, wokeness and not wokeness and this and that and the other. It's not a left versus right issue. It's created and established by them. It's old ass billionaires that are constructing these culture wars and these identity tropes and going down, making these critical race theory and gender and all this stuff for their own benefits. You just heard it just revealed. So it's not the pink-haired college student that's started all this. It actually started from the top down, which is primarily how all oppression usually starts, usually how all the situation that we're in usually starts from the top down. It's never left, right. And it's all just a distraction. It's to keep us distracted and angered at one another while they're still doing evil doings. That's the big thing. And it just got revealed on stage, which is why Warren Buffett came in. But at least he gave him 3 minutes. Like, we gotta cut you off on you're a speaker, so 3 minutes. Well, let's see what's gonna say in those 3 minutes.
We know how much Bill Gates cares about children. He met and traveled with Jeffrey Epstein many times after Epstein's convicted sex crimes. The Gates Foundation had a huge influence over the COVID response fiasco. The Gates Foundation may be the largest single donor to the dark money machine known as Arabella Associates. It funds causes like defunding the police, making American cities unlivable. Money goes also to groups conducting threats.
That, damn. Damn. He went there, folks. He went there. And that's when they cut off the mic and people are applauding it. You even heard people booing. Booing of the mention that Bill Gates had ties with Jeffrey Epstein. It's amazing that got booed, but none of the stuff about gender or critical race theory. You notice that was the tipping point, the thing that actually has viable proof and evidence that we've shown numerous amount of times. You can look it up for yourself. There's a substantial amount of truth and evidence to back the claim that Bill Gates and notorious billionaires and other political figures and celebrities had ties with Jeffrey Epstein. Like it's not conspiracy. It's not a made up theory. It's actually proof. And they're booing it. And then they cough his mic and they applaud it. Which, I gotta tell you, it takes a very special, dumb-witted, cult-like follower to applaud the cutting of a mic and defending a billionaire. Like, I'm assuming it's all shareholders there. That's why they're at this event, because why else would you want to go see Warren Buffett on stage? Why would you pay money to just watch a billionaire sit on his ass all day on stage? Why would you do that? Unless you were a stockbroker or an investor, or you had to have some sort of ties with it. Especially to applaud the fact that this guy literally ripped all of them a new one, and you're applauding the fact that they cut the mic. And booing the fact that they have ties with Jeffrey Epstein. People and they gotta love the lack of nuance, really. Just unbelievably insane. So then, afterwards, he was kicked off the stage. And not only kicked off, but he was arrested for taking part of this. And here's video of it. So there's him walking off. There's the officers there, because, you know, gotta love freedom-loving America. I love how all the conversations about, like, you know, China, you can't call the president Winnie the Pooh. You're such a dictatorship over there. You can't even walk on the street and criticize anything about the government. But here in freedom-loving Western society, we have private entities that, you know, hail rain and dominate over us, and then hire a bunch of cops to imprison people for speaking out. See, at least we're not as direct as China. China just has the government enforcing totalitarianism. We just go through different measures. The government sides with corporations, and then the corporations hire a bunch of police officers, and then the police officers work, of course, for the establishment. So let's see this again. He gets carried off on stage. There's the officer. There's another security guard. And watch the guy behind him. He's about to pull out a camera. Or his phone there. And the guy, whoa! You see that? Guy behind him was about to pull out his phone, and there's another bodyguard rushing in to block him. Freedom of expression, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're trying to protect, the democracy. As they're dragging an individual off stage for revealing the uncomfortable truths about our billionaire class. Gotta love Western imperialist society, ladies and gentlemen. The freedom, you can just feel it in your bones. And my guess is he's gonna love freedom so much that they're never gonna invite him again. It is just definitely wild. Honestly, definitely wild that happened. Because usually we show the clips of Jose Vega. We've seen clips of Medea Benjamin, who are very vocal and will speak out against the billionaire class. But this is an actual speaker. Like, he was invited to this event to speak. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting how the media is going to spin this, because they can't just say it's a random individual interrupting. Like they say about Jose Vega. You know, he was a rude individual. Very rude. He's using words, which is basically violent, as AOC would say. But they can't spin this because he was actually invited on stage. So what are they going to say? Well, I invited this speaker to take part of this meeting, and he was acting very rude? It'd be interesting, the follow-through on this, trying to cover this up, because they're never going to get him back on stage. You're never going to hear that again. That was a once-in-a-lifetime moment, and that was Peter Flaherty, ladies and gentlemen, who was the head of the Legal and Policy Center, speaking out against Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and the billionaire class. And let me just remind people how interconnected this all is, because all billionaire evil masterminds think alike. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. points out, as I've said before, Warren Buffett's vertical integration investments in the production of high fructose corn syrup, a key ingredient in highly processed foods, contributor to childhood obesity, generates massive profits for himself and Bill Gates. And what do they mean by vertical investments? That means they own the crops, they own the farmland that manufactures it. They are key investors in Monsanto, that fertilizes the land. They're also investors in the railroad company that takes the crop and transport to other sites. They're investors in the processing of the food. They're also investors in the medical field that deals with childhood obesity. So they're making profits throughout the entire process of the use of corn syrup. And they call themselves philanthropists. They called themselves philanthropists, because I wouldn't call them a philanthropist. I would call them an evil sack of shit. And I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. That's why they have to come up with these ridiculous scenarios, and, you know, Bill Gates and his, we're saving the world, and Warren Buffett gathering together and talking about race and gender because we want to be inclusive. We want to be hip with the crowd. Which is why they come up with these scenarios of culture wars, rather than focusing on the real evil doings that they're doing behind closed doors. And how they're really oppressing people. But that was interesting. Kudos to him. And you're only hearing it that time, because I'm sure at some point they're going to try and hide this away. They're going to knock this off social media. You're never going to see a viral moment like this again, where a speaker who was invited to a shareholder meeting just came out with the truth, which is apparently a more contagious virus that the billionaire class can't deal with, rather than COVID. Just really inspiring.